In the gym and in the car, with our advice you could go far. We fuck things up and we make mistakes, and talk about our sexy dates. We host events and go to clubs, but most of all we're still in love. It's getting hard for this to rhyme, just as well 'cause it's bed hopping time.
Hello and welcome to the Bed Hoppers podcast. My name's Mr. H.
I'm Mrs. H.
Mrs. H,
Yes.
give me 5 different phrases for masturbation. Go.
Jesus Christ. Nothing quite like going in dry, eh?
Well,
hang on.
Jesus Christ is not a euphemism for masturbating. Come on, go for
Bloody
it.
hell, all right. Ringing the devil's doorbell.
Bing's 1. Go, 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 go.
Playing with a little man in the boat.
2. Wing.
Rubbing one out.
Bing. Come on.
Wanking.
Yeah, all right. Let's go with it. Yeah. One more.
Oh my God, you
Come
literally
on.
put me on the spot.
We can't proceed with this episode until you've come up with
Can I not?
No,
Okay.
come on.
Okay. Onanism.
Onanism.
Yeah. You weren't expecting that, were you?
Well, I was. That was the first one that I expected.
Oh, well, it was
followed
the
by
last
ringing
one,
the. Yeah.
Fuck you.
Well, well done.
You
Thank
didn't even buy me a drink first. You just went and dry.
Well, strangely, I got you to make me a drink
I did.
in an odd twist of fate.
I'll have you know I make you a drink every night.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I bloody do.
You really don't. You make me a drink maybe twice a week, I would say on average.
Well, tonight's your lucky night then,
Well,
isn't it?
you know, because often I have to do it by myself. And that is the topic.
Oh, I see where this
Seamless.
is going.
Seamless link. Almost
I feel
like,
attacked
do you? By yourself?
by myself. And not in a good way.
Oh, bless you.
I'd buy myself a drink first.
Oh, that's very kind
Tip
of you.
myself out for a meal.
Oh,
Run a bath. And maybe like some candles.
really?
Play some,
Oh,
candy,
knowing
play
you,
some Candy Crush.
you
and
rub
some
one out in the
Pokemon.
car. Yeah, that's the thing.
I have done that in the past.
I know you
yeah.
have done that. You've been known to do that. So
It is known.
It is known. Well, this episode, thank you for joining us, is all about
Ringing the devil's doorbell.
masturbation, with a particular focus on lady masturbation.
Ooh.
Oh my. And the reason why we've chosen to talk about this topic is because we recently joined OMGYES.com. And by join, I mean, we
yeah.
slapped down some of our hard-earned cash
Bought it.
and bought it, and we thought we'd talk a bit about it and our discoveries on it and what we think of it so far, what it's like, what it's about, and all that kind of stuff. You know, because after the glorious Emma Watson has been promoting it way
See,
back
I
when.
didn't know this.
I'm
is
sure
this
she
why
has.
you were really keen on it?
Well, because I was hoping that I'd
You
see
imagine
some
like Emma Watson
Watson-based
ringing the
gash.
devil's doorbell.
yeah, it's not happened so far. No.
No.
I just have to keep watching Beauty and the Beast. She's age appropriate then, probably. Maybe.
Yeah, you don't want to see her in Harry Potter.
No, that feels kind
Wrong
of
connotations.
Yeah, kind of wrong.
completely.
Anyway, it's a bit.
Expelliarmus.
I mean, it feels slightly creepy, even though the cast are in their 30s now.
I was going to say she's all right.
She's
30,
perfectly
right?
legal now. That's an awful
Yeah.
thing to say. But that wasn't why I did it. I got it because it seemed interesting and it was a cool, sexy thing for us to do together, despite it being about masturbation. And I thought it would give us a topic to talk about on the show. Because, you know, content, it's pretty light these days.
So a celeb has actually endorsed this and put her name to it.
Well, I don't think she put her name to it. I think she recommended it.
Oh, you mean she's actually purchased it herself and had a go?
Yeah, I believe so. That is my I mean, I've done no research on this. I just remember reading about it, had it in the back of my head. I mean, maybe something completely different that she was talking about. But I thought, this thing might be good because that bird off Harry Potter, who's like an international women's representative or whatever it is that she did for a while. I thought, well, that'll be great. We can have a look at this and maybe it'll be fun.
So I have actually seen this advertised on my Facebook.
Yeah.
It's popped up in kind of, you know, things that your feed thinks you might be interested in. Now, whether it's because the algorithms just listen to what is going on in my life and poor Alexa is just, you know, so conditioned to hearing sexy talk around the house.
Or is it that
it's just popped up.
Your
but-
watch has recognised that you've been really shitly masturbating, and it's like, this poor woman needs
What
some
she
help.
needs is some professional help.
yeah.
I'm really sure I don't need professional help. However, it's always good to learn more because you can never be too good at something, right?
That's the thing. So I thought we'd use it as a bit of a general talk about masturbation. Then we'll talk about the site, and then we'll piss off home, and you guys can carry on, and folks can carry on doing whatever it is you're doing.
How did you hear about this?
About masturbation.
No, doofus.
About the site. It was probably, so I read about it when Emma Watson did the thing and talked about it, did the thing. But it also comes up on my Facebook recommendations because I mentioned it to you a couple of months back. As ever, I am a sucker for a Facebook advert, particularly if it's clothing. For some reason, they target me all the time. And I'm like, oh, that looks good. And it's like underwear for you, or it's like some funky suit for me. And I'm like, oh, this will be great to have.
And you have the audacity to say that I am a salesman's dream.
You are a salesman dream. Oh, I wanted to talk about this.
I'm sure you did.
Let's talk about this first,
Yeah.
since we're on the topic of salesman
Get it out
dreams.
of the way.
Yes.
Just get out your system because this is going to come back and haunt me in like episode 200 or something.
Probably. So we went to, this weekend just gone, we went to a food fair.
We did.
And
Food
it was
festival.
Food fair, like lots of stands and stalls and music and tents and vendors and people selling food and drinks and that
It
kind
was
of
like a music festival without the good music.
Well, I mean, there was music being
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was just like a celebration of food and quirky independent vendors.
Was it Thames? I don't know how you pronounce it. Tame.
In Oxford.
A Tame festival in Oxford.
Yeah.
Which might be the review. But it was a wonderful little locally driven thing. They had like a little music tent, and then they had some bluegrass people covering stuff, and they had some bars around. Anyways, as we were going around, you can imagine the sort of place. They sell cheese, and they sell wine and gin and moonshine and like little quirky things.
Jam,
all that side, if boards to put your cheese on.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
It's real hipster little thing.
Real hipster kind of little thing. So as we're walking around, I spy, not with my little eye, but I spy like a natural pet foods thing, predominantly aimed at cats. I think it's a cat one specifically.
A cat bomb.
There were about 4 or 5 of these bloody things around.
We had dog ones as well.
And I know the run of this stuff. I'm fairly savvy in the world of this. But you, my dear, he saw you coming a mile away. So as we were, we'd gone past.
Well, I was quite distinctive. So
we'd gone past
big deal.
the cheese stall, or one of the cheese stalls, and the guy that was like outside with his clipboard or whatever the fuck he had sort of spots you a mile away, and he's like, so do you have a cat? And you're like, yes, I do have a cat. And he's like, I could see bloody pound and dollar signs light up, and he's like, yeah. And he was like, oh, what's your cat's name? My cat's name is Noodle. And I'm like, oh, fucking hell, here we go. And he's like, is Noodle fussy? And you're like, yes, she is. Like, she's a cat. Of course she's fucking fussy.
That's not true. Not all cats are fussy.
And he's like, do you love your cat? And you're like, yes, I do love my cat.
I'm not going to say no, she's a dickhead, am I?
She is, but it was like, with all of my heart, I love my cat. And he's like, does Noodle have biscuits? And does she have food? And she's like, yes, she does eat food. And this guy is getting, he is like reeling you in, and you're so like, oh my God. And he said, well, we have got the perfect thing for your fussy cat. And you're like, oh my God, what is it? I must have it. I need to have, Noodle requires the best of all of the things, for she has earned my heart and my respect, and also my financial commitment. Yes. So this guy was like, oh, this is no fucking problem. So he asked you a string of questions about, oh, what colour is your cat? And she's grey.
I had
she's
to describe her. He was very good.
What is her temperament? Arsehole. No, she's like, oh, she's lovely, but she's shy, and she always, and he's asking you all this stuff about your cat. He's like, how big is she? And he's like, well, if you were to sign up now for this raw food deal that's just for fussy cats.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, we're not doing this. and you're like, oh, this will be so good for Noodle. And you turn to me, and I'm like, the cat does not does not need this stuff. Anyway, you're absolutely like, you're so excited.
So I sent you on your way to look at the rum stand.
Yeah, you just like basically
Go and
told me
look
to
at rum.
fuck off so that you could talk to the nice cat food man about
He
how
was nice.
Noodle was going to get a special delivery every
tell me all
Monday
about it.
with, that came like frozen. You have to heat it up in water, and it comes with a free mouse toy, and it's a little box they can play in because it's a regular box and cats will play in.
You've thrown the box away.
Yes,
Yeah,
we have.
You cared not for the gift that kept on giving.
Amazon is a regular occurrence to
This
our
wasn't
house.
an Amazon box; it was a special box.
There was nothing special. Anyway, long story short, you were like, oh, I can sign up and I can cancel anytime
Just
I
a
want.
trial.
And the guy was like, well, if you're going for the free, the discounted one, why not go for the larger pack? And then you've got some cheaper for longer. And you're like,
know.
that sounds great. So
It's
I'm
very
there sort
good.
of, but if you do that, then it'll just repeat on the larger size. And he's like, don't listen to this man. Talk to me, cat lady, about your wonderful cat. Tell me, does Noodle purr? You're like, yes, she does. And does she purr when she is happy? And you're like, yes. How does he know my cat so well? Anyways, long story short, you signed up for this thing. And
I
later on in the
did. I
week,
signed up for the trial.
you signed up for the trial. The food arrives. There is much hurrah from Mrs. H about.
I was so excited,
You're so excited.
when it arrived.
And
It arrived with a mouse. The mouse arrived. Noodle gave not a fuck about the mouse.
we had
Fine.
like almost an unboxing of
We did
this.
have an unboxing.
and-
So it had a menu. And let me tell you, the menu said menu a la carte.
oh, good.
I mean,
gr-
is that not marketing genius?
I don't think they even need.
Mr. H, seriously,
No.
you're very good at content and
Yes,
creative
but-
stuff. Would you not look at that menu a la carte and think this is fucking gold?
I think there is an untapped market for selling to mental cat people.
Dickhead women who
Yeah.
like their cats.
Yeah, I think that there is an absolute market for this. Anyway, we get the food out, you warm it up as per the instructions in its special microwave container or whatever that it came with, and
Only
water.
lightly warm it.
Yeah, only lightly, just so
Take the chill off it.
Yeah, so
Doesn't
that
hurt her
it
tummy.
doesn't hurt her poor delicate thing. The cat took one look at it, sniffed it. I think she licked it once and then promptly fucked off. So we are left with a bunch of cat
Oh,
food
God.
that even the dog is slightly unsure.
Oh. Wow.
So
Thrilling update. I have since cancelled
you
it.
have since cancelled
Of
it now.
course I have.
I'm amazed you were able to cancel it. It sounded to me like
No.
some sort of pyramid scheme.
No, they didn't take a quart of blood or anything like that. I didn't sell my firstborn or anything. It is cancelled, and I only had to part with £9.
So
That's it.
so in terms
The experiment is over. Noodle has returned to her former dickhead status and has ignored the mouse, which we get to keep, and all is well. Maybe.
Okay, so that was a thrilling thing, and obviously, you get advertised at constantly in life, and there's always another thing being shoved in your face. I mean, you're listening to this podcast, and Christ knows we've advertised enough events and things that you can go along to.
Talking of the advertising, the OMGYES thing
Yeah,
was obviously a good advertising ploy because we both saw it separately
yeah.
and have both gone, that actually sounds all right.
Well, and we'll review it later, but first I want to go through some masturbation
Go
with
through
you.
some
Some masturbation questions.
Get me all warmed up with cat food.
Yeah, get you all warmed up with cat
and my
food.
tale of woe of how I was had
Since
to
you're feeling
give my
down.
life savings to this scruffy man with a clipboard in
Yeah.
Oxford.
Since you're feeling down, have a wank. You'll feel much better by the end.
See, I don't want to refer it to as a wank. I just use that as a colloquial term of masturbation because you put me on the spot.
Okay,
I don't think I wank.
you don't wank. You
I don't like
strum.
it. No, I think wanking is predominantly quite an aggressive masculine term, and I don't like to associate myself with it.
Okay, so the last time you rubbed one out. Right. So when did you discover, Mrs. H,
Yeah.
masturbation?
Very, very young.
How young?
I think I was in junior school.
In junior school? No, that is...
No, I didn't know what it was then because I just remembered vividly feeling a sensation when I lay on my tummy or whatever and feeling that felt nice.
Okay.
But I didn't touch anything. I didn't do anything. I just remember laying on my tummy felt good.
Laying on your tummy feels good.
When, well, yes.
Was this around the same time that Ray Parker Jr. was talking about busting feeling good?
All I'm trying to say is it was early. I must have been, I don't know, let's say 10.
Okay.
You know, I can't remember exactly what age it was because it's a while ago, but I do recall it was when I was in school. And I do recall it was when I hadn't yet kissed a boy or anything like that, or anyone. I just remember feeling those feelings and not really understanding what it was, but it is something that felt nice.
Okay. And was masturbation something that your parents talked about at
No,
all?
God, no, never. Absolutely not. And neither did anyone that I knew or school lessons or nothing. There was no mention, no coverage of what this was and what it meant. I didn't even know what it was.
Okay.
Until obviously much later on.
Until you'd got really practiced at it.
Yeah.
So you didn't know what it was, but you
No.
knew it felt good.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't, I'm guessing so, since your parents didn't mention it, it
No.
wasn't like frowned upon.
No,
Did you...
it wasn't even mentioned
No?
as a good or a bad thing. It was just not mentioned at all.
just a thing
Ever.
that you could do? And presumably you didn't talk about it with them?
No.
No.
No,
Interesting. Okay.
I think.
And how did you develop with masturbation? What kind of happened to you as you grew older and grew up, I guess?
Okay, so when we started like sex ed in school, that also didn't really cover that, or if it did, it was extremely light touch. Hey, because it wasn't. It's not something I can recall in the same way that I can recall the sex ed lessons. You know, about basic biology and how anatomy works. In terms of reproduction and things like that.
It's interesting because
They touched on puberty, yes,
Yeah.
but they never kind of talked about recreational puberty.
like pleasure was never
never
certainly
mentioned at all. It was purely a functional, this will happen to you, you'll get older, you will, bits of your body will grow in a certain way and things will happen. It was never really...
I mean, it seems,
I think.
you could put any number of things into that fleeting statement. So it wasn't
Yeah.
ever really covered as part
No,
of sex education.
Absolutely not, no.
And how old were you when you started using toys?
Oh, way older. Not till maybe my 20s. For one, like sex shops, and I'm saying sex shops because there wasn't anything like, trendy, nice, hipster, it's okay to like sex shops like we have now.
Like an Ann Summers kind of thing. I mean, that's a
Exactly.
relatively modern...
But you know what I mean?
invention,
They
yeah.
kind of they sex it up and make it look nice and don't
Yeah.
make you feel shameful walking in there. It's in just a regular shopping mall, for example. Not back then. To get a vibrator or something, you'd have to really hunt it down, go to some seedy place probably. But I wasn't aware of them, and it wasn't until probably my late teens. No, actually a little bit earlier than that. I probably saw a pornographic film or something in my
Pornographic film?
when I was, I don't know, like 15, 16 or something. But not in a kind of, I found it and I wanted to watch it way. It was more of a jokey thing that some of my mates found, and we ended up going, oh my God, there's a porn. Let's watch it.
There's a porn.
It was a piss take
Yeah,
thing, like growing up.
Yeah.
And then, things like that probably featured a little bit in that respect in like media portrayal of masturbation and toys. But I never really hunted one down or sought one out or anything until my early 20s. And then I think things like Ann Summers kind of was more prevalent, especially in kind of mainstream things. And you could go to an Ann Summers rather than have to order one online or something.
I remember very early on in our relationship going to Ann Summers with you, and
we bought one together.
yeah, and I think you said
A
it was
rabbit.
it was a rabbit. I think it might have been like your second or whatever sex toy. So
Yeah, I wasn't used to them. They didn't really feature much in my own kind of private life, my own me time.
okay, so
I got very good at just using my hand.
you got very good at using your hand.
I kind of just figured that was all I had to do. There was no other option for me other than a pillow.
I remember you famously claimed you could knock one out in 30
I
seconds.
could.
You could. I don't think I've ever seen you do it though.
Oh, pressure. You're going to watch me. It might take longer.
That's because if you will make a song and
All
dance
right, I
over it.
vividly remember then, much, much younger me, I think I was reading some smutty Jilly Cooper novel about riders or something.
You harlot.
Yeah. And I recall there being a chapter in there about one of these smutty riders who had never masturbated and discovered masturbation, like in the chapter.
Yeah.
And then later on, she just couldn't get enough of it. And it turned out that the bloke she was with was just atrocious at everything and making her come. So she ended up just like testing it herself and going, oh, I wonder how long it does take to make me come, kind of thing. And she went off on her own and did this thing. And it was like, yeah, like 50 seconds. I was like, is that a thing? Can I do that? So yes, I could. But, you know, you have to remember this is going back like a while.
Before you were massively desensitized to the world.
When, you know, I was younger and it was easier to climax anyway. You know, age does delay things like that a little bit.
I think...
But I still could pretty quickly if I was on my own and there was nothing, you know, adverse going on and no pressure, I probably could.
So I remember when we got you the womanizer toy, right? I'll have a go at that one.
The ear thermometer
The ear thermometer one. And you being fundamentally disappointed because you came in like 60 seconds.
Correct. It did exactly what it said it would do. And my God, I was disappointed. Like, well, that's done. Throws it across the room.
Which was such a fascinating thing because on the one hand, you often complain about how long it takes you and you're worried about everyone.
Not on my own.
But not on your own, but you know, with
sex.
Within a more than one person situation,
correct.
You're often complaining about how long it takes you to get there.
Well, yes, I don't complain about it. I'm just concerned by it, let's say. I'm not complaining because someone can't make it happen for me. I'm more concerned that I'm incapable of that because there's someone else involved and I just can't switch off.
You can understand the dichotomy of you complaining that, oh, this was too quick, and then it takes a while sometime other time, and you're like, oh, I thought I was taking too long, and then I got all up in my head. I'm like, well,
yeah, man, it took a whole day off work just to masturbate when it's over in 60 seconds.
That does not surprise me in the slightest.
Oh dear.
So with that in mind,
yes,
moving much further along in time, you've discovered how to masturbate. You've discovered toys, which some either here nor there for you. I think
not a mad fan of toys. I like them.
I think you like other people using toys on you.
Perhaps. I think they serve a really good purpose and they can be a godsend if you literally just need something fast. Like
but also,
the womanizer, but I've
seen you try and turn our television on. So maybe you're impaired by your ability to use said toys. Maybe.
What can I say?
I have seen you throw a number of toys across the room or across the bed because you can't turn them off. So
okay, there's that. But I do know the reason why I'm not keen on toys.
Okay.
And the reason why I prefer manual play. Sometimes it's because I don't want to be desensitized. I don't want to have to rely on technology for something to happen. I like to be able to do it myself and know that I can do that. And you can get so used to toys, I think. And, you know, the fast appeal of what they can deliver to you really, really quickly. And I don't want to be reliant on that. And I don't want it to be the only way I can ever get off of something. I like to be able to do it myself still. Yeah. I'm sure a toy now and then is nice, but I don't want it to be my go-to.
So taking that metaphor then, should we delete your Pokemon Go account and replace them with Pokemon trading cards?
I will stab you in the face. And if I knew how to delete games on your Xbox, I would do it.
No, you wouldn't.
Yeah, I would.
You really wouldn't.
You wouldn't touch my Pokemon. Don't even think about them. If you even dream about them, you've got to wake up and apologise to me.
I often wake up and do have to apologise to you
can
for whatever dream Mr. H has done throughout the course of the night. It's not happened recently.
There's no coming back from this. I'm deadly serious. If you touch my Pokemon, I'll fucking end you.
Jesus Christ, one. Anyways, moving back to the topic at hand.
I'm all turned on now.
Back to the topic at hand. So, how often do you masturbate?
On average over my entire life or now?
No, I don't want
a year ago?
It's been like 6,982. Like,
really varies.
Like how often per the average week?
It honestly truly varies. It might be none at all to twice.
So
maybe a little more, I don't know. But sometimes it can be none. So I don't have like the requisite number of times.
It varies a lot from naught to twice. That's not a
giving you
huge
example.
It's not a huge variance. Granted, you could say that it's increased by, I don't know, 200% or whatever it might have been. So if you look at it from that, like from nothing to everything, yes.
What I'm trying to say is I don't do it every week.
Okay.
It's not a regular, oh my God, it's Tuesday, I now need to do that. It can go a whole week and I don't even think about it.
Okay.
And then occasionally I'm like, okay.
Okay.
So it might be a few times then, or just not at all.
Okay. And what do you think about when you do masturbate?
Okay. Sometimes I think back on things that we've done together in like play situations, like experiences we've had.
Mm-hmm.
I have sometimes thought about you sucking someone's cock.
I bet you have.
I'm okay to say that. It's cool. It's a fantasy. It can be a fantasy as much as I like.
It used to be someone sucking my cock, and now it's me sucking someone else's.
I can switch around. It's cool. In my play fantasy, you are switched, so it's fine.
Okay.
So you could do either or both.
Okay.
Yeah. However, yes, there have been things I might have thought about where you're interacting with a male,
mm-hmm.
because I do find that fantasy quite hot. No, it's never going to happen much. That's a fantasy. Sometimes I think about, masturbation, like women masturbating, because I find that really a real turn on.
Yeah.
But we know that. I would not probably watch porn. Like, I wouldn't just Google, I don't know, people fucking. It just wouldn't do much for me.
You make it sound like specific people.
People fucking.
Yeah.
If I was going to refer to some porn, it probably would be, I don't know, women, lesbians, something, but not in a kind of fake porny hub kind of way, but more of like a voyeur type vibe,
Okay.
like or erotica, like erotic literature, probably.
All right.
That kind of vibe. But more often than not, just lots of things that flip through my head. I don't kind of go rifle through my little Rolodex of fancy and go, which one should I choose today? It's normally like just a carousel of all sorts of different images and memories.
Okay. And do you think that getting older and being impacted by things like the menopause has changed your desire to masturbate?
Yes.
Good answer. Thanks. Let's move on swiftly. How so? What's happened?
Yes, it has. So libido is not just
a club in London. Libido.
I would say the mojo or the libido is not restricted just to a sex drive, like wanting actual sex. It also relates to how sexual you feel and how likely you are to think about wanting to be aroused or feeling like you need to have some kind of release. It tells right off. In fact, that was one of the first red flags I think that we realised together, that there was something off with my mojo.
Yeah.
Because you recognise that I wasn't doing it anywhere near as much anyway.
Yeah, your hand muscles have got so much weaker.
And so if you're not thinking about it, because it doesn't ever really occur to you because your hormones are so out of whack that they don't actually make you feel sexy in any way, then it stands to reason that's going to tail off as well.
Yeah.
And it became like more of a conscious effort to recall it to mind, to make myself feel, oh, well, I should probably do that. And actually, if I do, I'll enjoy it.
Yep.
And it's true, when I was, it was fine, but it was just it wasn't there in my mind anymore as much.
I can understand that. And I think, as we look to tackle it, I think that did come back, or at least a little bit more than where it was. I mean, there was a huge ratio between you doing it and not doing it, between 0 and 1. One might argue. So
screw you.
Good, I hope you do. Now, one of the things that I'm interested to hear your take on, as we've gone through our adventures and spoken to lots of different people, we've encountered people that don't masturbate or have never masturbated.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that?
So I feel quite upset for them because, I've enjoyed it for a long time.
Yeah.
Really, really have been. I've always found it a very healthy thing to do because you are very much in touch with your body and what you like and how you like to be aroused and how you like to be touched. And part of that journey comes with doing that yourself, so you know what turns you on and what makes what feels good.
Yeah.
And also it's really nice. I feel quite sad for people who haven't encountered that or or have thought maybe they weren't capable of that or didn't want to attempt it because of any kind of shame attached to it, or maybe upbringing just told them it wasn't, you just don't do that. So I feel bad because I think it's good for everyone to sort of incorporate into their life in some way, whether it be as a partnership or alone, or just knowing how to touch yourself is really important, I think.
I think it certainly helps because like what we found is that people that do masturbate are able to show you what they like and what they're interested in, which leads us beautifully into the OMGYES thing, because actually it is a guide to female masturbation.
It is.
So if you find that you're in that space where you've never really thought about masturbating and you've never really gotten to know your body properly, or that you wonder, are you doing something wrong? Do you feel bad about it? All these different emotions, this site, because that's effectively what it is designed to help you.
And also navigate it with a partner.
Yes. And I think that's the really positive thing that we've taken out of it so far. Now, to put it into context, we signed up to this over the course of the weekend.
Yep.
And we spent about 4 hours, 3-4 hours watching, mostly watching the videos. So the site is organised into 3 sections. So they are the essentials, which are all about sort of
framing and stuff.
Well, framing, getting the scene right, getting into the right mood, but also a sort of external pleasure. And then there's inner pleasure, which focuses on inner pleasure. And then it kind of goes on to toy techniques. And each of these sections has a variety of other topics, mini topics. I think there's like 20 or so per one, thereabouts. And they cover different techniques. And the way they do that is there's a written sort of bit of information, but also there's lots of 1 to 4 minute, 5 minute videos about people talking about the topic in question. What's really cool is as you're going through this, they're talking about this sensation, how they've explored all this kind of stuff. And then typically at the end of towards the end of the page, you get some videos of them demoing it.
Actual real people doing it.
Actual real fannies on your screen, ladies and gentlemen.
Done beautifully.
But exceedingly well shot. Not shot in a pornographic style. It's very
show and tell.
Show and tell, but with a sensuality to it, I would say.
Talking you through it.
Talking you through what they're doing, or at least talking you through what they're going to do. They demonstrate it and then the video ends.
Yeah.
There was also some of the pages also had you demo it yourself. And I really like this because I'm a sucker for like an interactive game, right? But it opens up on your web browser. So we were using just my Mac and had that connected to the TV. And there was like how to circle the clit with your finger and the sort of the speed at which this particular lady that was talking about it and what she wanted you to do. And then it would pop up on the web browser and you had to hold the trackpad down and circle your finger around it with a close-up picture of her vulva, like covering the entire screen, which given the size of our television at home it's like, whoa, that's a lot of vulva on the TV. But also it was really interesting in that it sort of was telling you about how fast, the sort of motion, what to include, what not to include. But obviously with the context that this is what this one person likes. Yeah. This may not be for everybody, but this is their particular slot, for want of a better phrase.
Oh my God. Indeed.
And I thought this whole site, I mean, you can tell by the enthusiasm, I guess, in my voice, was really good.
Yeah,
it was a lot of factual information. And to be fair, I've read a few of the pages and I've kind of gone through some of that.
We know it mostly, but it's good for people who maybe haven't thought of it that way.
But as a exercise for us as a couple, it was really interesting to just sit back and like, oh, do you like that? How do you feel about that? And it was a really good way for us to connect together and sort of look at all these different things. Now, some of the stuff aren't things that we would have necessarily talked about before. And it covers, how to include your labia in that masturbation, or it goes on to anal stuff as well. There's some of that in there. Can't wait for that chapter. It covers
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Wow.
I know. Well, I did have to look ahead for the purpose
science.
No, for the purpose of this review. But I think it was a really good way for us to connect and spend some time together, doing something that was sexy, but also potentially learning other things about each other, or mostly me learning stuff about you and me scrolling through videos. What did you think? What was your take on it?
I thought it was all really sexy.
Yeah.
It was really nicely framed. There was nothing about it which was clumsy or uncomfortable. It was presented genuinely, evocatively, and really nice to hear just people talk openly about something that probably most people do or have tried or should try maybe. I thought it was really nice to do it together. And actually, I don't know if I'd necessarily want to look at all that on my own anyway, unless I was someone who'd never tried it before or was keen to understand how to do it better. I actually enjoy looking at it with you.
I think as the two of us sort of going through it, I think it worked quite well.
Yeah.
I think, like you say, if you haven't explored yourself particularly, I think it's a good means of going over that. And they do talk about trying it with a partner, and they do talk about, this might be good to try yourself, and this might be something that you could try with a partner. Oh, what I did forget to mention is that it cost us, it was an offer, although I suspect it may well be one of those things that is permanently offered, but I can't guarantee that. We took the Essentials and the Explore More option. I think you can get like just the Essentials, which is just a basic one for like, I don't know, 15 quid or something.
Okay, I didn't realise it was that cheap.
But
for just the basic thing.
But that's just the first chapter piece, I think. The Explore More stuff, for the whole package, it was 60 quid or 58 quid.
£58, yeah.
And that gave us sort of forever access to it. I don't know whether they're planning on adding more stuff to it or not, but it felt like there was a good, I think you could easily have a good few evenings out of going through those bits, looking at it together. I think even if you did what we did, which was pretty much just watch the videos, that was a good couple of hours of us doing that on just one of the sections.
Yeah.
We didn't really get to the inner pleasure piece or the toy bit.
Yeah,
so
that's really good. We've got quite a bit more to go yet. I like the fact that they were like, spoken narratives about people's experiences, and they were all quite bite-sized things. As you say, look, 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was nice to just hear lots of different perspectives, lots of different body shapes, sizes, ages. It wasn't just one kind of thing. It was just a broad spectrum of lots of, how people got started themselves, what their formative kind of foray into it was. So I thought it was really, really well done.
There was a good variety of, as you say, of body shapes, backgrounds, diversity really. And some people had shaved, some people had not, some people had trimmed, some people had large labia, others had virtually none. It was a really fascinating kind of, you are what you are, and I'm just talking to you about what I do. And that really sort of leveled it up. And it's all shot very much in sort of like daylight kind of thing with nice sun coming through the window, or maybe simulated, who knows. But it looked really wholesome.
Yeah, it's really well done.
And it felt like someone was letting you watch them, but not in a showy way, in a much more an educational, this is what I do kind of way.
Yeah. Did you ever years ago watch, was it The Joy of Sex?
Joy of Sex. I think we have it.
I think we do have it
downloaded
somewhere.
And it's a bit better than that. It's
very of its
less
time.
dreamy.
But I actually at the time really remember really enjoying that, because it wasn't salacious made up porn. It was designed to be making your lives better somehow. I actually quite liked the way it was presented, and obviously this is now kind of many years later, but it kind of has elements of that to it for me.
I think so. I think, and we've watched a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
We've watched various Nina Hartley guides as well.
Yeah.
And obviously that leans a little bit more into the porn side of things. But I do like that sort of education with sexuality thrown in. And I think the OMGYES thing has got a really nice balance to it. And it's much more on the educational side. But actually, because I think we were watching it and it was about sex, it made us both feel really sexy.
Oh, that was my next question. Like, did it turn you on? Did it make you feel sexy?
So I think it did, but not to the point where I was like, oh yeah, look at that up there, I'm gonna smash that or whatever. There wasn't that. But I think it was the fact that we were watching it together and enjoying it and naked in bed.
Yeah.
But also that it's there is a naughtiness to what you're watching, because you can't help that.
Yeah.
But also there's a learning and a wonder, does this apply to you? How do you feel about this stuff? So there was a lot of that floating around. Now, what I will say is that if you already know how to masturbate and you've not got money to chuck at this sort of thing, I'm not sure that you're going to get that much value out of it. I think you kind of, as a couple's experience, as a, for the cost of basically going to the cinema a couple of times, it's a really fun way to look at this stuff. But I think if you're going in with the view of, well, it better teach me something, then I don't think it's going to be for
Unless
you.
you've never done it before and you don't have a clue.
Yeah. And I'm sure anyone could watch it and pick up different things. I'm sure you will learn something, but is it going to be life-changingly different for you if you're already fairly well versed in how your body works?
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to do that. So, and I think if you're hard up for cash, let's be fair, and you also have the well, I already know how to masturbate, then this probably isn't the product for you.
Yeah.
Whereas if you want to kick back with a bottle of wine in bed with your partner and like learn some stuff or just have a wonderful sort of little sexual exploration, then I do think this could be a really useful tool to have in your arsenal.
It's nice to have.
Yeah, I think so. I really enjoyed it. But what I enjoyed more was that it set us up for some really sexy times afterwards, which you're going to talk about now.
Am I?
Yes.
Is that so?
Yes, because as part of the ongoing awkwardness in all of the conversations that we're having, you're going to tell a sexy story. Are you ready for this? I know you're fully prepped and ready to do this.
I wasn't fully prepped. Why are you like this?
Well, I think it's nice because it's the only time I get to hear a sexy story. And it's also, it's interesting and fun and utterly cringe for our listeners. Yeah, I think we're mainly picking up people who like The Office these days. That's the level of cringe that we're managing to obtain.
Oh, wow. So you want me to tell a sexy story?
Yeah, tell a sexy story. Yeah, and then we'll round it up about our final thoughts on the thing.
Okay.
Yeah, go on.
What do you want to know?
Well, what happened? What did we do? Because we were in bed watching this naked.
Yeah,
we had some drinks.
Okay, yeah, we had. Yeah, so we started watching it downstairs first, and we were closed. But then I think we decided it was because we'd watched a few of the little videos and realised that they were these are quite cool, and it would be nice to go up to bed. And so we lay in bed together and watched it with no clothes on and some wine, as you say. I think it was really nice because it did set us up for feeling just quite sexy because we've been obviously watching all this sexual content and lying next to each other. So then I think I'd been playing with you for a little while we watched it, like just touching your cock and stuff. And then I think you stopped it, and not the cock touching, but the videos. and then you basically then played with me for a while, but I don't know if you were doing that because you were keen to show that you were applying learning from what you'd seen, or if you genuinely just fancied playing with me.
But a little bit of both. It was, monkey see, monkey do, a little bit of that. But I think it was a nice, I think because that scene had been set very well and we've been watching a lot of that, it felt like a nice intro to some sexy times.
Yeah. Okay. So I was quite happy to lay back and let you play with me for a while, which you did. What would you like me to say about it?
I love how red you've gone. Well, what happened? What describe some of the stuff that we did? Bullet point it if you have to.
Oh my God. Well, all right. We didn't use any toys. You played with me with your hands, and you also went down on me. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did. I know you did. Oh my God. Why are you making me say these things?
Because it's fun.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, then, anyway, you played me for a while. I wouldn't say it was like edging, but I was definitely in a state of excitement for a while. Mm-hmm. And then you decided to be a little more internal focused, which is not something I really go for normally. But it felt really good. So we carried on with that. Yeah.
Yeah. You're telling this story. You don't need me. You don't need me for reassurance.
I'm answering your questions. It doesn't come naturally to me.
It did.
However, and then you were so internally focused that I thought, well, this is potentially going to make something happen that doesn't really happen very often for me, and I'm not really overly keen on it normally, but it felt good, so we carried on.
What was that?
I'm talking about the squirting stuff.
I love
saying it is
how
horrible.
Utterly red and how awkward Mrs. H is looking. It's a complete delight.
The thing is, right, this is really funny because I don't ever get embarrassed about what's actually happening, like the act of the fact that I've talked openly about how important masturbation is and how great it is. But this is, I
you're-
don't know.
But you're talking about science, I suppose, to a certain extent, about the
Yeah.
concept of this. This is different because it's happening to you.
Yeah, but also you're asking me to make it sexy rather than recounting something, factual, which I don't do very well with.
That's why we practice.
Okay. Anyway, so you continued on this mission, I think, and then you did make that happen. I don't know how else to say it. How else can I say it?
Well, did you come?
Yes.
Right. Did you squirt? Mm-hmm. Did you have a nice time?
Yes.
Then what happened?
Then you fucked me.
Fucking hell. So there we have it, folks. I was going to say...
Then you made love to me. No, you fucked me.
What?
You don't. I was trying to make it sexy for you.
How was...
I don't know.
I feel slightly traumatized about this this description of what went on.
I feel traumatized at having to retell it.
Well, you should be writing these stories constantly after they happen. And therefore, when I go, oh, tell us a story, you can go, let me refer to my notes. And then he stroked my heaving bosoms as his hand trailed down ever further south.
No. Absolutely not.
Okay.
That is not going to ever work for me.
Really? You could write it. It'd be fine.
I couldn't.
You could bullet point it.
Well, even because I've referred to the fact that I do like to read literature sometimes, right?
Yes. Literature.
Literature. And that's okay. I mean, that's obviously designed to make people feel sexy. But I don't even think I could retell a story myself in that way. But it's okay to read it.
Maybe we need a series of sentences that you just slot in and build a story, like a kind of Lego version of a sexy story. Like
a Lego sex story.
Yeah, and then and it's you pick from 10 different phrases. Slid his hands, and then it's the next one.
So I could
down
do
my
that.
Yeah,
I could totally do that. So then he put his fingers in my pussy. Right,
there we go.
works.
So you've done it.
Yes, I did it.
There you go.
But I couldn't do that retelling it through someone else's eyes. Can't talk about it myself.
Really? Okay. All right.
No, because I don't really like that.
Okay. So I guess in terms of OMGYES, moving onwards, I think
you.
Yeah, it's all right. I would definitely recommend it for people that want to explore that time with a partner or get to know themselves a little better. I think if you're already a proficient masturbator, then you're probably it may not be for you unless you're looking for one of those sort of experiences.
Still fun though.
Still fun. I think for us, it was a really interesting mix of nice visuals, educational stuff, and that led us to have some nice sexy times together. And I think if it does nothing else, then it's already won my heart on that front. I think that was a really cool way for us to spend an evening together. And I'm looking forward to watching, the next chapter or all the different videos and just chilling out with you and kind of going through that stuff. Because who knows, we might learn some really important stuff or some game changers, or we might just have fun sitting there watching some videos that have sex in them, right?
Yeah.
You're looking really, really embarrassed.
I'm not embarrassed because it's a subject I like and I like talking about, but I just really struggle to tell something in a sexy way unless it's reading something that someone else has done. It's so hard. I can't.
It's so hard you can.
I don't think I'll ever master that.
I think we need to send you on a course. Like a course where there's homework, where you've got to go away and practice stuff and you learn from someone on how to do it.
Jackahorny.
Yeah, Jackahorny. I think it's part of it is practice. Part of it is so deeply ingrained into you being able to speak this back and not ever wanting to do it. It's really interesting. You really throw the brakes on quickly when you feel like...
I know, I don't know what to say.
But what...
I can almost hear myself trying to form a phrase in my head of I know what I think somebody probably wants to hear, but I cannot. I meet a mental stumbling block trying to enunciate the words because they just sound so cringy to me and inauthentic for me because it's not who I am, and I don't feel turned on saying them, and I appreciate my end user might feel turned on awkwardly after about an hour, but it doesn't come naturally to me at all.
But I think there's lots of things that don't come naturally to us.
Yeah, of course.
And I think it's only with practice that you ever overcome that and that you learn those skills. So maybe we just need to get you on a special course. So if you've encountered a dirty talk course, please let us know, for I will send Mrs. H to that course. And please don't make up a fake one just so I send her to your house. Please don't do that. That's not cool at all. But yeah, let us know if you've done one or if you have some top tips. That would be awesome. In terms of OMG, yes. I mean, we're not sponsored by them.
No.
We literally decided that we'd jump on and have a good look at it. And I'm really glad that we did. And I'm really glad that we ended up sort of having such a nice time with it.
Yeah.
If you've tried it before, give us a shout. Let us know what you thought.
Yeah.
If you're looking to try it, give us a yell and see what we can do. We can't offer you any discounts, but we can certainly tell you more about what we thought. Mrs. H, any further thoughts on OMGYES?
OMGYES. No, I think.
OMG, no then.
OMG, no. No, I'm really enjoying it and looking forward to more of it. Glad we've given it a go.
Cool. And any further thoughts on talking sexy? Any top tips for people who might be looking to talk sexy?
Don't come to me.
Don't come on you.
I will say that, for my birthday, I got the Gillian Anderson book.
Yep.
Want. And as I said, I like reading erotica and stuff like that. And I found it easy enough, I guess, to kind of read that, like read it out loud.
Yeah.
And that's nice. And I thought that might give me some kind of advance help in, creating these conversations myself. But not this far. So I don't know if anyone's got any suggestions to elevate this sexy narrative that I seem to be unable to achieve. Yes, do tell. I'm all ears, but don't expect me to read your answer out.
Fantastic. Well, Mrs. H, do your thing.
Well, thank you for hopping into our bed.
Wife, do you have the hiccups?
I do. I do have a hiccup.
What
I'm really annoyed by it.
are you? What are you going to do about it?
Well, Simon, it's a really valid question. It's a really valid question. I'm glad you asked.
Yeah.
I'm currently really, really fucking annoyed by it.
Are you? So?
I have tried a number of self-help remedies to no avail.
Yeah.
I'm really, really cross about it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not a development that I'm really happy about. I don't know what's going to happen next, but I'm really fucking annoyed about it.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, that's what I have to say about it.